Sure, I guess. Welcome, everybody, to this episode. As usual, we only ask that you do a couple things for us. Number one, go to our Facebook page and like us. We are likable people. Some of us are. Two, go to our Twitter page and follow us. Our Twitter handle is...
@ComesNaturalPod.
Yeah, it is. And three, go to iTunes, like us, subscribe to us, and review us. Cody.
Welcome to Comes Naturally. We are
Joe.
And I'm Cody. No Mike today, so go fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Don't actually do that, though.
No.
I heard he's a taker and not much of a giver.
Right.
So, like...
We're going to start it off with Mike's
Yep.
Wrestling Minute, brought to you
Max.
by Cody.
Wrestling Minute.
The closest we can get to Mike.
Boom, I'm a big guy. I like wrestling.
Ish. Well, like I said, the closest we could get to Mike.
Faint interest. So this will be short-ish. So I saw today, and apparently it's not new news, but
New
to me,
to us.
it looks like Goldberg,
That is Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg, of WWE fame, former WCW and WWE champion, looks to making his return, not in 2016, but in 2017.
Right, because he's in talks right now.
Yep. To return, and it may be that he will be leading up to a fight between him and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania or SummerSlam or WrestleMania 33.
Boom. There it is.
Boom. He said during an interview while he was promoting the 2K game, WWE 2K17, which he is in, by the way, an exclusive character. So if there's another wrestling game out there, I guess he's only in 2Ks. That's what it says. I don't know. It says exclusive.
Really does say
part,
exclusive?
I don't know. He signed on to become an exclusive part of the WWE 2K17 character lineup.
Okay.
Whatever. Anyways, he said it invoked a feeling that I haven't felt in a long time, which is kind of cool. But the reality is, it's not in my court. He said to Sporting News, meaning that it's not up to him if he returns.
So he wants to come back.
He wants to come back. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be like a one-off type thing.
Yeah.
It's not like he's coming back to do a new.
Like The Rock
Yeah.
kind of just went in for one wrestling episode or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Match, I guess.
Much like Brock Lesnar is doing himself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
I guess it says here also real quick. During the SummerSlam, fans. So during the match between Lesnar and Randy Orton, the Brooklyn crowd began chanting Goldberg so loudly it was heard over the microphones from the announcers.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's dope.
A lot of times when they chant, it's really hard to hear. It was so loud in uniform that they could pick it up on the microphones.
That's awesome.
That's pretty rad.
I remember I used to, when I did watch wrestling for the little bit again, because I watched back in the early Hulk Hogan days, and every once in a while on, I think, UPN when they carried it, I watched Goldberg, and he was the, 40-something-0, or, some ridiculously win-to-loss ratio, and he was kind of the big draw back then because of that, and so it'll be interesting to see what they do again here. I don't know what his wrestling record ended up being.
Yeah, I could probably look it up, but I'm not gonna.
No.
Because that's the end of Mike's Wrestling Minute.
Yeah, it was not quite a minute again, but whatever.
Fuck you. It's free. And it's more of a
very
misnomer than a minute. Like,
very
we've had one that was
loosely,
like 20 minutes. We had one that was like 2 seconds. And then we have this one. Go fuck yourselves. So, I put out a challenge, not on last week's episode, but I thought of it, I think it was the day before yesterday.
Because technically Mike was already going to watch a horror-type movie.
Yes. So the thought process was this. We would each watch a horror movie and not tell the others what it is.
Nope.
Then we'd come in today, the day of recording, and talk about said movie. in a review style, but not like oh, this many stars. Just like talk about the movie that you watched.
Yeah.
And it was no stipulations. It wasn't have to be a new movie. It doesn't have to be something you've never seen.
Just had to be a horror movie.
Just had to be a horror movie. And the horror as a genre can be from suspense to thrillers to slashers, monster movies, whatever it happens to be.
Oh. That ties into the story that I was going to tell you.
Gotcha. So, I'll let Joe go first. Joseph, what movie did you watch?
I ended up watching Housebound.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that movie.
It was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
But here's the small story. I told Cody last night that it'd be funny. It's probably not actually that funny. It's funny to me.
I'm going to laugh anyways.
Yeah.
Oh
my God, that was it.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for laughing. So when you texted this out to us, I was like literally on my phone. This is going to be fun because I do love certain types of horror movies, the suspenseful ghost movies. And I'm like, this will be awesome. So the easiest way for me to watch any type of movie is going to be Netflix. Obviously, you probably watched yours on Netflix. No?
Nope.
You watched it on Cody Flix?
Yep.
You already own it.
Yep.
I was wondering if you had seen Housebound before.
I have.
Anyway, so I digress. So I literally just typed in Netflix horror movies. Boom, and this list pops up and it says 2016 Netflix horror movies that you have to watch. And so I'm like, oh, cool. So new ones I probably haven't seen before. And I'm scrolling through. Most of them are like slasher films, and I don't really want to watch, slasher, gory, blah, blah, blah stuff. And I run across this one called Monsters.
Yeah.
I started reading through the description. And it's by Garth Edwards, who it was his first film, the one that convinced the studios to have to bring him on as the director of the Godzilla movie, the 2010 version, 2011 version, something like that.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
2013,
the newest American version.
Yeah.
Because after ours, the Japanese went back and did another one, which I still haven't watched yet. Anyway, so I was like, that's going to be awesome. It's a monster movie. It should follow. It's in this list that says this is horror movies. Like, oh, awesome. So I started watching it, and I only got 5 minutes into it because within those 5 minutes, you just see a bunch of They set up the plot that NASA had found life on another planet, and they were bringing those microbes back, and the spaceship went down over Mexico, and some months later, these creatures start appearing. And I was like, oh, that does sound like a straight-up horror movie, But the first scene is you with a bunch of American soldiers traveling through, if I recall right, somewhere in Mexico, and they're being dispatched to take out this giant monster. And it didn't feel like a horror movie to me. So I went and looked it up on IMDb, and they just listed it as a drama/thriller. And I was a little disappointed because I was like, oh, that's not a horror movie. So I went back to that list, and I scrolled through it, and I came across Housebound, and I'll read the synopsis to you.
It's fantastic.
Hold on, I have to type in the password to my phone.
Archaic technology.
Archaic technology, yeah.
Nah.
More like technology that's being blocked by my freaking phone case.
Yeah. Take that sumbitch off. It does take like 4 hours to get that fucking case off.
It does actually, in like 5 pennies.
In 5 pennies, because you break 4 of the 5.
Yeah.
You have to get, like,
Okay,
one
so
wedge in here.
the description of this show. Housebound. After a robbery goes wrong, delinquent Kylie Bucknell, played by Morgana O'Reilly, is forced to return to her childhood home when a court places her on home detention, which is made all the more unbearable as she has to listen to her mother's ludicrous theories that the house is haunted. However, when she notices strange bumps in the night as well... Oh, God. Excuse me.
A burp comes out of nowhere.
A burp out of nowhere. It's weird. It's in that... Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. However, when she knows strange bumps in the night as well, she begins to wonder whether the house is in fact possessed. As the mystery unfolds, Kylie is drawn into a tangle of terror that forces her to reevaluate her belligerent behavior as well as her fractured relationship with her mother. And I read that and I was like, oh, sweet. It's a straight up like haunted house horror movie.
Yep.
You know, and that's literally all I read of it. Literally it. So I threw it up on Netflix and I'm like, let's watch this. And within the first 5 minutes, I am laughing my ass off. And the whole scene is that the robbery, as they say, is literally the main character chick. And we'll just say her accomplice because I can't assume that it's her boyfriend.
I think it's alluded to, but I don't think.
Yeah, it was literally just that scene that he was in, and then no other scene. Again, yeah. Anyway, so he's got a sledgehammer, and they walk up to an ATM.
Yep.
And he's beating the ATM with this sledgehammer, and it's not doing anything. In fact, she's making fun of him for it not doing anything. Suddenly, the head of the hammer breaks off and hits the dude in the head, and knocks him out cold. And I'm laughing my ass off, and I'm like, whoa, now. Did that list just fuck me over again? So I hit pause and I pull up the Housebound on IMDb, and it says comedy, horror, mystery. And I was like, well, it says horror, so I'm in.
Yep. Our genres are loosely based.
Well,
very loosely based.
Very loosely based. It was a horror movie. It ended up being, by the end of the movie, a pretty decent, actually rather enjoyable horror movie. Should we go into spoilers on these movies?
Fuck it, let's do it.
Fuck it, let's do it. Okay, so she basically high-ends the car as she tries to hop over a median right there and fucks herself right there. I was laughing my ass off at that part too. Fast forward where she gets put under house arrest at her parents' house. It's actually her mom and her stepdad, and super fucking Britishy.
Yeah, for sure.
That was another thing that I didn't realize, obviously, reading through the description, is that this is an English, and as I mean English, I mean British show. You know, they drive on the other side of the road, the wrong side of the road, and they talk all Britishy, and their mannerisms are super Britishy. Like the mom who just will talk and 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 just keep going on, and you're just like you're standing there like, oh my god, what the fuck. But everything is actually set up really nicely when the girl is in the study or something, because it's a large old house that they're in, and she's listening to the radio of some guy who's talking about supernatural this or that, and he takes a caller that ends up being the girl's mom. And they're talking about how the house that they're living in right now is haunted. And obviously the girl doesn't believe it, but then things start happening, like bumps and things being moved around. And the first big scene that I can remember where the ghost appears is her phone goes missing.
The ghost.
And you can hear it ringing, but not in her room, because she's in her room. You can hear it ringing like downstairs. So she goes through the house trying to find it, ends up in the basement, and she's looking for it. And the cool thing about this movie is that it does have a lot of those suspenseful parts, but no payoffs on it.
Yep.
You'd be sitting there and you'd be waiting for something to happen, and then nothing. So I'm like, I don't know about you, but when I see these types of movies, I'm always looking in the background, because that's where the action is happening. It's not going to be in the foreground, you know. When they're doing a shot of somebody and that has it's slightly to the left or right, you're like, okay, over their shoulder something's going to happen. And a lot of scenes in this movie that it doesn't. It builds up the suspense and there's no payoff, and that's kind of fun. But like this scene here, she goes in the basement. The basement lights flicker and go out, and she grabs a lantern as what they have there. And she's searching through the basement, and it's framed just right where you're like, it looks like somebody's standing behind her, and it suddenly falls forward. It's scary, and you realize it's like fucking Buddy Jesus as he's like falls forward and a cloth comes off of him. You're like, oh, okay, so that wasn't scary, and suddenly a hand shoots out of nowhere and grabs her, and she runs upstairs, and that was actually pretty, jolting a little bit. It was pretty funny. God damn it.
Stop it.
Freaking phones and people calling me. The one time I say that, oh, nobody's going to call me.
Call.
But at least I did have my phone off.
Way to mouth off, Joe. Someone had to live up to Mike standards.
I know, right? So you start experiencing more and more stuff like that, where you hear bumps and things moving in the ceiling when you're in the basement, but in the floor when you're upstairs. Her not parole officer. What do they call those guys? Was it a parole officer?
Which one?
The where they're
Dennis?
where their house, yeah, they're under house arrest, and he has to check on them every once in a while.
It's a parole. It's actually her. It's a psychologist.
No, it's not the
Or not
psychologist. It's the other dude.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, parole officer.
Yeah, parole officer. So
Amos, right?
so it's Amos.
Yeah,
That's what it
Amos.
was. Yeah, because I remember that now because of the.
I watched this like 3 or 4 weeks ago. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was recommended to me by my cousin. So
It was actually really good. Anyway, so it's that scene right there where they call him, or no, he doesn't call him. He gets her ankle bracelet trips.
Yep.
And indicates that she's out of bounds.
Out of bounds, yep.
He comes running through the house. As it turns out, he lives just down the street, so he's literally in his pajamas and a shirt or a jacket. And he comes running down there, and he's like, why is your bracelet tripping off right now, even though she's in the basement? And, why is everybody screaming and whatnot? And they go, there's a ghost here. And he gives like this most serious look, and then reaches into his pocket and pulls out a tape recorder.
Yep.
He begins doing EVP sessions right there, which is fucking hilarious because of the seriousness that he had with it. And just the buildup of like how the daughter, the main chick, didn't believe in all this ghost stuff, and so he's sitting there, recording and asking questions like, did you die here? This and that, and waiting for the whole pauses, and he hits stop, and the main girl's like, what do you expect to catch? And he's like, shh, hold on 1 second. And he starts playing, and it gets all eerie and spooky. And it replays his first question, then silence, and then it replays his second question and silence. And you're like, oh my god, you're gonna hear something on the third one. You hear his third question, and silence. And then you hear the girl go, what do you fucking expect to catch? And he's like, oh, and he just shuts the recorder off.
it's extremely funny.
It was extremely funny.
Yes.
Again, it's one of those things where it builds up to something and there's no payoff. I'm trying to think of like the next big scare. There was mostly just creepy stuff after that happening. And then they started getting into the mystery behind the house of like why it was haunted. And
Yep.
that leads into the mystery part of the whole movie, where they try and figure out what ghost would be haunting the place, and they figure out that it's this girl that was stabbed like 67 times in the main girl's bedroom.
Yep.
In which case, you also find out that this place used to be a halfway house, sanatorium. Yeah, and a lot of people, there was like cruel stuff that went on there, and the main girl had never known about it, and her parents never told them about it, because by the time she got old enough, she checked out. She became kind of delinquent and left. So they start investigating different things, and they know like the really creepy ass neighbor, and the neighbor's just super fucking creepy. The first time you see him, he's like fucking skinning some sort of animal, like literally ripping the skin off this animal, and you're like, oh, that's
Jesus.
They're setting this guy up. He's got the house that has like the junk in everywhere, and he's got that like old, I've seen some shit and did some shit type of look to him. And so they're like, oh my god, that's the dude that had to have killed this girl, and this ghost is trying to tell us this, because another scene that I just remembered is that the girl hears a bunch of bumps and noises in the vents, and goes down to the basement where she originally got scared, and there's like this old stove thing there, and suddenly you just hear something go thunk and fall into there, and she has to break the stove open and finds a fucking retainer in there, with like false teeth and everything on it.
Yep.
And that's what leads her to believe that it's the neighbor, because the neighbor has like false teeth. She has false teeth. He does have false teeth. So she ends up coercing her parole officer to help her break into the dude's house in order to get his fucking dentures, essentially,
To prove
that it's him that killed the girl, because in her scenario it was literally he wanted to what was the murderer's original intention was to like the girl was stealing stuff from neighbors, and so he wanted to get his pocket watch back, and so he broke in, started stabbing her, but then accidentally bit her and left his dentures behind. It was so fucking weird of an explanation of why there were dentures at the scene. And one of the worst parts ever. So she breaks into the house. Her parole officer's on the outside because he's like, look, I'm going to help you, but not going to help you really break into this house. And she sees the dude sleeping and can't find the dentures anywhere. So she comes to the conclusion that the dentures are still in his mouth. What the fuck, man? So she reaches into his mouth while he's sleeping and starts trying to dig out the dentures. And this dude is sawing logs the whole entire time.
He's
like
out.
Fucking out of it. I don't know how this guy could sleep for 1 second with somebody just digging in his mouth. She eventually knocks the dentures out into some papers. He wakes up. They both book it. The parole officer gets caught in a bear trap. It looks like the old guy, grabs his gun and goes chasing after the girl. Like, oh my God, they're really setting him up to be the killer.
Yep.
And it even gets to the point where it seems like he's about to enter the house, and he's really gonna murder this girl because she found out about everything. And then she ends up stabbing her stepdad.
Graham, it's so funny.
It was actually funny, and
she prepares to attack this dude, and just like,
just out of nowhere, he comes walking around the corner, and she just fucking sticks him with what is it, hedge trimmers or something like that.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
So they go to the hospital, and the parole officer ends up breaking back into the dude's house later that night because the girl told him that the dentures went into the dude's paper collection. So the dude actually breaks into the house, like legitimately. He has like some drill bit thing where he just drills out the bolt on the door and goes right in, and he's fucking caught like within minutes. And that's where the first twist happens.
Yep.
And the dude's like, hey, why are you breaking into my house? The guy's like, we know you murdered this girl. And he goes, hold on 1 second. Let me show you something. And you're like, what? The dude's super nice.
Yep.
Which was
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It fucking throws you off. He's lighting a smoke, and he's just like, let me show you this. There was this dude. I think his name was Edward, is what his name was. And he's like, the dude used to live in that place. Then he was helping me fix stuff. And apparently this super recluse was awesome at anything mechanical, electrical, circuit board, this, that. Eugene, that's what it might have been. He could basically take something, fix it, or as the guy called it, he would also he would eugenize it, where he'd put some other function to it and make it work. And so they start leading you down this path where you think, oh, okay, it's this Eugene guy that killed the girl because he must have had some sort of fascination with her or whatnot. They even show like the dude starts moving a bunch of fucking trash around, and the parole officer's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, just 1 second. He's moving the stuff around. He's telling about the about Eugene and how he lived in the house, and he didn't like open spaces. That was his thing. He couldn't be out in open spaces. Everywhere he was, it was supposed to be an enclosed space. I don't know what phobia, like, well, it'd be a agoraphobia, but like a super agoraphobia, because he couldn't even be in rooms.
Yeah, like large rooms.
Large rooms he couldn't be in. And the parole officer's like, well, let me see this guy's bedroom. And he goes, well, yeah, that's what I'm going to show you. And so he moves the last piece of junk, which, mind you, is at the base of the outside of the house, and then moves a grate. And he's like, it's right here. And you're like, oh, he lived under the dude's house? Yeah. It's so weird.
It's so fucking weird, dude.
It's so fucked up.
You're like, that dude's a killer.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, look, and he went missing the same, or like a week before.
Yeah, right before the murder.
The girl died. Or, excuse me, was killed. Oh, jeez.
You were burpy today.
I didn't even drink anything that had carbonation in it.
Nope.
No.
No.
Well, I was thinking, like,
recount what you drank today,
because the Minute Maid. I'm not sure if that was carbonated.
Yeah, Minute Maid.
Because it's the Minute Maid lemonade, and half it's the Arnold
Palmer
thing that I do.
It might be. It might be carbonated. A little bit of carbonation.
I don't think it's any carbonation.
No, I don't think there is there.
So you're like, at this point in the movie, you're like, oh shit. Now we have this psycho deranged killer that is on the loose still, and nobody knows where he is. And you think about it for a second, and they're like, well, what if he's still in the house? And so I'm trying to remember, because things start moving a little fast at this point. So the girl comes back, and Amos tries to go to the hospital, was it? I can't remember. Anyway, so the girl and the mother end up back in the house at one point, and wow, everything's starting to get a little blurry at that point. Help me out here.
Dennis.
Yeah, but that's a little later, because right now they're setting up that the guy that is the killer. That part, for some reason, just is a little fuzzy to me, because they end up in the walls a couple of times.
Yeah, because she thinks that he's in the reason they found the retainer is because he's been in the vent system in the walls.
Yeah.
So they start looking into how he would have access to him.
Yeah, and eventually she ends up in the wall, and she's actually, you see this Eugene guy.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my God, he's real, and he's been living in the walls of this house for this whole entire time. In fact, he's been stealing things, like TVs, headphones, stuff like that, to keep himself entertained and alive. And that's why you would explain where food would go and whatnot. And she ends up being chased by him, and she is freaking out. But when she gets back to the police station, because from that scene she runs right to the police station, and the police, fucking British as all hell. Bobbies. You're taken out of that like horror thing where she's like, there's a dude in my walls, and he's gonna kill my family, and my mom's on the way back there. You guys got to help me. And she's like, oh, that's what it was. She's like, I was putting the vacuum away, and suddenly I busted through this wall back there, and I went through the wall, and there's this guy in the walls that's been living in our walls, and he killed this girl, and he was gonna kill me, and my mom's on her way home right now. You need to send somebody back over, and the officer on duty is just like, well, hold on, wait 1 second. Stuck, vacuum, and he's literally typing out the report, and he's just like, you're gonna have to slow down for me. Can you tell me that again? So you put the vacuum. Oh my God.
Oh, good Lord.
So then they flash back to the house to show the mom going in. They flash back to the girl to show that another officer has arrived and is like standing there going, so you want us to take you back to your house that you just ran away from? She's like, yes, to save my mom. Amos shows up and is like, dude, no, this is real. I talked to the old guy next door. This dude's been, running around the inside of the house, and he possibly killed this girl years ago.
Yep.
They go back to the house. That's where then the the psychology guy shows up again. He shows up throughout the rest of the show, or the movie, but
Dennis.
this is where things start getting a little bit more weird because as they're sitting there, Dennis and one of the two officers, the other one is left. They're gonna try and assess the mental state of the main girl, Kylie, to see if she needs to go to some sort of other place where she won't be disturbed or will get help and whatnot. So while the mom is prattling on and serving tea and hard ass biscuits, the psychology guy suddenly pulls out dentures that match, or at least look like, exactly what was dropped inside the stove. And suddenly they're like, "Oh my God, was he the killer?" And so the main girl pulls her mom aside and is like, "You need to keep this guy here a little bit longer. I need to go find proof that it was him who killed the girl." And the mom's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And the girl's like, "Just do what you do best." And so she just goes back in there and just starts prattling away about different random crap. And the girl goes downstairs and starts leafing through all this crap that was left over from the previous owner. And it turns out that's where she finds out, the name of the place was like Sunshine something or other. And she's going through all the records, and they find that psychology guy had interned at this place when it was a halfway house, and that he had a problem with some of the patients, that he couldn't handle them. And that's where she goes back upstairs, and the mom is just still rattling off, and the psychology guy is just like, shut up for a second, I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's so funny.
Flash forward a little bit. Suddenly the mom comes downstairs to meet the daughter, and the daughter's like, "Well, why aren't you upstairs?" And she's like, "Well, he had to go to the bathroom, so I figured I'd come downstairs." They go back upstairs. They can't find the police officer. They go find Dennis, who was upstairs, and the girl has a knife, and they're like, "What are you gonna do with that?" And Dennis suddenly attacks her, because she knows what had happened. They run downstairs. They end up in the downstairs bathroom. You find out that that Dennis had killed the police officer, and from this point on, it's Dennis who's trying to chase them down and kill them to cover up what he'd done in the past. Amos appears at one point. He ends up knocking Amos out. The mom and the daughter end up inside of the walls, getting help from Eugene. Yep. While they're trying to run away from Dennis, and it turns out they start finding out at that point that Eugene's been living in the walls for a very long time and was actually a friend of the girl who got killed. Knew that Dennis had killed her, but was too afraid to come out about it, and that's why you had the denture thing, pop out, because he knew that would lead back to Dennis. But this dude's been so isolated that he's kind of still got like a kiddish mind. And when sorry, the next scene where they're like, Dennis is coming after us, we need to hide. And the guy, Eugene, goes, "I have a perfect place to hide. Nobody will find us." Fucking throws a sheet over himself.
So ridiculous.
And the main girl's like, "Really? You throw a sheet? We can still see you. That's not a good hiding place." Fucker then suddenly gets stuck through with a fireplace poker.
Yep.
Because there's Dennis right there, right behind him. They end up escaping there onto the roof. Dennis is following them. They end up knocking Dennis off the roof and killing him. And that's it. It winds down from there as things go to, like, months later. She gets her
ankle bracelet.
Ankle bracelet. Wow. I am super not
Nope.
good with words today.
I'm not good with words.
Ankle bicep.
Ankle bracelet.
And they're making an event about it. The mom's filming it, and so she gets it taken off, and suddenly the camera just dies, and you find out that the stepdad as well has made a full recovery, perfectly fine, being stabbed in the gut with a.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
British medicine's amazing.
British medicine. It's that government paid.
Yep.
For medicine.
Run by them Harry Potter motherfuckers.
Yeah. Fucking wizards, man.
Yep. Fucking wizards, man.
So, the camera dies. She's like, oh, this thing had a full charge in it. And the daughter looks at it and is like looking it over, and she just suddenly yells, Eugene! And the movie basically ends there. It's a light note. It's a light, happy ending that the so-called guy in the walls that had possibly killed this girl but didn't is still living in the house in the walls.
Yep.
I was not expecting any of that movie whatsoever. That was a good movie to actually just go into just not knowing jack shit about, because the fact that it turned out to be a comedy was absolutely awesome. If you don't like British humor, I will say probably not going to be something for you, because it is British humor to the
for sure,
to the extreme. But it was a really well done movie. Like I said, everything that they had set up paid off in the end. There was nothing that they left hanging, at least nothing that I saw, and there was nothing that didn't make sense in the movie, which was weird. Just how the story just went this way and that. I would never have guessed that it was the psychologist who did it. Because they did such a good job of setting up. Well, it's a ghost. Well, it's a dude living in the walls. Well, it's the neighbor. Well, it's a dude living in the walls. Well, suddenly it's the fucking psychologist. So, yeah, that was a good movie.
Yep, it's fun times.
Yep.
The poster makes me laugh too.
What was the poster? So I didn't see it when I originally looked at it, because the
Netflix one's a little different.
Well, no, the website just showed a picture of the movie. It didn't show the actual picture, the poster. But when I was looking it up today, preparing for this, it shows the family sitting there like a family portrait. But then you have the dude in the sheets there as well. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Made me laugh.
Yeah.
Housebound.
I was kind of hoping that would be a movie that you wouldn't have seen.
Nope, seen it. Come on, man.
I know. I
Try
realized
harder.
I mean, I'm saying that I was hoping, even though I knew you probably saw it.
So, on to mine.
Okay.
Before I get to mine, I do want to talk one thing. So, Gareth Edwards, the gentleman you were talking about, made Monsters.
Yeah.
I'll allow you to watch Monsters if you want to.
Oh no,
it's a monster movie. So
I made it right in. Oh, so like for next week?
yeah,
Okay.
If you want to.
I'll
There's a
definitely
sequel
want to.
too.
Yeah, I made it into like by him or.
No.
Okay, so I won't watch.
I haven't watched the sequel yet.
I made it 5 minutes into it, and I was like, well, it doesn't say horror, so I'm gonna not watch it, but I'm gonna save it for later.
Yep. Yeah, it's a monster movie, so I'll allow that one to get in there.
All right.
So Gareth Edwards, he did the 2014 reboot of Godzilla. He's also the director of Rogue One.
Rogue One,
yes. So yeah, I just want to talk about Monsters for a quick second because it's genius. So the movie was made for under $500,000.
Yep.
It was shot sort of guerrilla style.
Yeah.
So the way they did it is him and so Gareth and a couple crew members. I think it was like 3 other people, like 2 sound guys, a camera operator, and I think he might have done camera, and then Gareth might have done camera, and the other guy did like rigging or something. But they follow these actors around, and because the budget was so low, all the effects were done outside the camera. So after shooting, so even down to the point where like the signs, where you see like the monster sign, which I think you saw when the army guys go in.
Yeah.
You see like the little orange caution sign, but it's a monster.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 6 or 8-legged like spider thing. Those are digitally put in.
Wow.
So those don't exist. So even like as far as they couldn't even get branding rights for some of those stores, they had to digitally impose signs over them.
They did a damn good job.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. Yeah.
5-10 minutes that I watched, it was It looked really good. Yeah.
It's super fantastic. I like that movie a lot. I haven't watched the sequel. It's called Monsters Dark Continent. I haven't watched that one yet, but it literally has nobody from the first movie involved in it. Like neither of the actors, the Scott McNeely and Abby something or other, or Abigail, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Whatever the actor's name, they're not in it. Gareth isn't involved with it at all. So I kind of want to watch it, but I mean it's one of those things where it can't be as good as the first one because it has nothing to do with it. Has nobody from it, so except for I think the producer, one of the producers is the same one because it's some from the same company that did it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. So I could not figure out what I wanted to watch.
I figured it would be something hard for you.
So I chose 6 movies.
6 movies.
6 movies.
Way to over.
Hold on.
Okay.
And so what it is, I gave each one a number, so 1 through 6. Then I used Google Dice Roll.
Okay.
To pick one.
Okay.
So the movie I picked is The Shining.
Somehow I knew that would come up because I almost even watched The Shining
So,
actually.
and it's the movie, not the miniseries.
Right.
The Kubrick one.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the reasons I guess there's 2 reasons really I wanted to watch it. Wanted to watch it again because we read the book.
Yes.
And I wanted to watch it because it's been forever since I'd seen it.
Yeah, it has.
And I just bought the Stanley Kubrick collection on iTunes, and this happens to be one of those.
And they also released The Shining. Well, they still have it on not HD, but SD on iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the TV
The
series
TV one.
Shining.
So I did that. I hadn't bought the miniseries yet or the TV movie yet.
Yeah.
But I had this one, so I was like, I'll throw that in there too. I won't tell you what the other movies are because I'm going to use those for the rest of the month.
Are they ones that you've seen or ones that you
There are
haven't seen?
3 that I hadn't seen.
3 that you haven't seen.
And 3 that I had seen.
Yeah.
And that I wanted to watch again.
Okay.
One, which is The Shining, obviously. 2, which are sort of newish. One's pretty new. The other one's a few years older.
Okay.
And then 3 I hadn't seen because I wanted to try to mix it up some.
Yeah.
So before I go into The Shining, is not that. I mean, we've seen The
talked
Shining,
about
so
it, yeah.
I really want to talk about the differences. But one of the things I talked to Joe about today is my whole game plan for the next 3 months is to theme all the stuff I watch from TV shows and movies, as well as reading and books, real book, like normal novel type books, not comic books, because otherwise fucking done. I want to do themes, so Halloween, the month of Halloween, so August, I want to do all scary type stuff. So I'm reading the 2nd Dark Tower book.
Yeah.
I have Silence of the Lambs, and I figured I'd probably be able to get through 3 books this month, maybe.
Yeah.
They're all fairly shorter.
Well, especially if you do the whisper sing thing.
Yeah.
Your drive to and
Exactly. I can burn through them pretty quick. So hour both ways essentially. Plus the sitting on the can reading with my Kindle.
Yep.
So I have a chance of those, but then I wanted to do all scary stuff, and then in November I was thinking all stuff I'm thankful for, which is just basically gonna be like some of my favorite movies.
Thankful for J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, and so like exactly.
You can finish S.
Yeah.
Or start S.
I
Which one?
finish S, all right?
Oh, you're like 10 pages in, and you.
I'm like 22 pages.
I've
in.
been 10 pages away from finishing it for like
exactly
2
so
years.
go fuck yourself.
So.
At least I'm not finishing it. Just not
I've
starting
been
it.
busy
Reading other stuff. Anyway, so then I thought for Thanksgiving, the month of Thanksgiving, November, I would do stuff I'm thankful for. People going back and doing remakes or favorite stuff. For example, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Thankful that they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah.
And then other remakes, blah blah blah. Then for Christmas time, I wanted to do all stuff that was based during Christmas, but not about Christmas. So, for example, Die Hard 1 and 2, they take place during Christmas, but they're not about Christmas.
No.
But then I thought, I don't know a lot that I'd have to do more research, and I don't know if it'd be enough stuff.
Yeah, because that's the weird thing where it's like most Christmas movies around Christmas are Christmas movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I thought I'd just watch stuff that's not your traditional Christmas movies. So I'd watch Die Hard 1 and 2. I haven't watched The Night Before yet, the one from last Christmas with Seth Rogen,
Oh yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and
Yeah.
Falcon. What's his name?
I can't remember either.
Not Sam Wilson. His real name doesn't matter. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. So something like that would be fun. And then the TV show part for that stuff, I would just find Christmas episodes of TV shows and watch them.
Oh, that'd be dope.
So that would be my fun one. So The Shining. It has been a long time since I watched. It's probably been like
2
maybe
months?
10 years since I watched it.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it.
That's a long time for you.
Yeah, long time.
Considering I can pretty much name any other movie out there, and you probably watched it a week ago.
Most likely, yes. So, I really like this movie. I've always liked it. It's one of my favorite Stanley Kubrick movies because it's fucked up. Like, it's so fucked up. Rewatching it after reading the book, because I had never read the book before, I now understand why Stephen King was so upset, because they miss almost every single aspect of what made The Shining an amazing book.
Yes.
They literally, so basically, this is what I thought myself when I finished it. I was like, oh, so basically what happens is someone said, hey, this Shining book is pretty goddamn popular. So they basically said, hey, now, mind you, the difference in this is The Shining was from 1977. This movie was made in 1980. So there's a 3-year gap. So it's not like it's a modern, at that time, a modern day classic, but it wasn't like we're going to make Moby Dick into a movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not 50, 60, 100 years old. It's 3 years old. And by the time it's released, that means they really started production like maybe a year or so after it came out. So it's like, okay. But it's basically someone said, hey, Stanley, I know like you like horror stuff. You're a pretty big weird guy. This is a pretty big weird book about some weird ass shit. How about you make a movie? I don't know if that's actually the whole conversation was made, but Stanley Kubrick directed it, he produced it, he wrote it.
I imagine that it went more like, hey, Stanley, there's this horror movie about this family named Jack and then whatever the two other characters
Danny
were.
and Wendy.
Danny and Wendy. Takes place in a hotel that's haunted, and he went, stop there. I'm going to go make it.
Yep.
Well, wait, let me tell you. Nope.
He had someone give him the cliff notes of the book,
Yeah.
and that's what he made the movie on.
Mm-hmm.
It literally misses every aspect of what made the book so fucking creepy, except for 2 things. The little kid having the ability to shine,
Mm-hmm.
and Jack losing his fucking shit.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is Jack Nicholson plays Jack or John Jack Torrance. Jonathan is, for some reason people named John go by Jack. I still don't understand that to this day. If someone, by the way, knows that, just let me know, because it still drives me insane.
Right.
Jack Torrance, in the book, he's a wee bit of an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Has some anger issues when he's drinking.
That's understated.
Yeah. But for the most part, like, loves his kid and loves his wife to an extent. Like, it feels, even when I read the book, it felt like they had a child by mistake and ended up being together, but he doesn't really love her as much as he would like to.
Yeah.
But, back then you would stay with whoever you're with,
The beginning of that book, you know The Shining, and you think, oh, it's all about the hotel, but actually like
not.
the first 5 chapters or so,
Easily.
even more than that, is all about him and his life before the hotel and how he was a teacher and how he committed an infidelity, and that's where like you're getting at.
Yeah, he's not a good person.
Yeah.
But he's not a fucking asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, he's a straight dick. Like, he's just a fucking dick. Like, he talks down to his wife all the time. Like, he's just an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, like, right there, it's like just cuts out all the character development of like that one character.
Yeah.
But him flipping his wig, not too far off. Like, it's not a hard sell. Because like, in the book, they build up like he's trying to do better by his family. He takes this job to help, make money, but also, give him somewhere to live, and he's going to write his book, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. and it takes this like slippery slope for him to fall. Literally, it's like flipping a fucking switch in the movie. Like, Jack just goes from being a dick to being a murderer.
Yeah.
Literally, like, he tripped on something going through a doorway and decided, I'm going to murder everybody I see.
Goddamn doorways.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck
That
it.
explains why he chopped through that door.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Wasn't trying to get to his wife. He was trying to knock down that door.
So, the whole thing about, like, The Shining, it's explained at one point, but, like, super late after the fact, like, you think something's going on. And the way they do, if you remember Tony from the book.
Yeah, a character within it that they build up this weird, like, oh my God, what does he have to do with this?
Yes, so...
But even in the book doesn't have a payoff.
Yeah, so it doesn't really go. So, in the book, it's this, like, spirit guide thing that talks to Danny, and tells him things, shows him things. Like, he shows him that his dad got the job. He's also the one that showed him that his dad that his dad really loves him, but, like, something's wrong, that sort of thing. And then basically warns him not to go to the hotel. So in the movie, to show you this without having to have another person, it's literally the little kid talking with his finger.
Yeah.
And doing this not convincing, scary voice.
Yep.
It's really off-putting in the movie. It's terrifying to think about, but it's also like the kid's not very good at acting.
Well, no, I mean, no kid.
Yeah, they're not many kids are very good.
Yeah.
And this kid is definitely not like when he's like needs to be in the shine and he's scared, they literally just film him doing nothing except for staring at something. And they have this high squeal noise that comes through that is supposed to give you the fact that the shine is like something's happening. Stanley Kubrick's good at like many things. Visually is visualizing stuff that's scary and off-putting is something he does great.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I don't remember as much as it happened in this movie was like literally felt like 5 or 6 minutes of that high-pitched fucking noise to let you know that the shine is like happening.
Yeah.
Instead of using music like to build up, like Jaws or Jurassic Park or Terminator, it's this fucking noise that's like ear-splitting at times. I was like, wow, this is hard to
Not
listen
good.
to.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. So I get it. It's hard to say. I would think if you just like made the lighting dim down in that, like to him, whatever it happened to be way fucking better than the high pitched noise. Because holy shit, dude! Like the scene with the twins.
Which, by the way, if I recall right, was not in the book.
No. So I remember going and reading the book, thinking, oh, I'm gonna learn more about the twins.
Yeah, you're gonna see the set pieces in the movie.
Exactly.
You're gonna learn about those set pieces.
But see, the thing about it is, there's a lot of things from the movie that are referenced in the book as something and then used differently.
Yep.
And then there's one scene that always gave me the creeps from the movie that really made no sense because it had no correlation in the book, was where the guy in like the weird bear outfit looked to be performing fellatio on another dude in the hotel room that Wendy saw.
Yeah.
I remember visualizing that when I'm reading the book, when towards the end of the book, when shit starts going awry and like weird parties erupt and you hear things, which happens in the movie. Like there's like voices, this disembodied voices, and like sounds like a party going on and decorations. She goes up one of the floors and she looks, and there's this furry thing crouched down on a bed, like over a bed, and then it sits up, and it's this literally just one of the worst like shitty Halloween costumes of what seems big like a dude, but it could have been just a large lady in this really not convincing bear outfit. And then a slobby looking dude sits up in front of it, and they both stare at her. And I was like, oh, that's not scary. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, that didn't happen in the book.
No.
At all.
No.
And then the other part that got me, so with the twins, in the book, the former caretaker had 2 daughters and a wife. He went fucking apeshit, axed them up, hacked them up with an axe, and then took a double barrel shotgun to his own mouth.
Yep.
That's why there's an opening for Jack to come be the caretaker.
Yep.
Because this dude lost his shit, murdered his family, and the verbatim for the manager telling this to Jack is almost like it was right out of the book. He says, "There's, I have to tell you something. I know the guy's down in, well, they said Denver, but I think it was somewhere else in the book because they were originally in California, I think. Didn't tell you is the previous caretaker had a wife and 2 daughters. He went, what they call cabin fever.
Yeah.
Murdered them, stacked them in a room, and then went and ate a shotgun. So basically, that's exactly how it's told you in the book.
Yep.
Later on in the book, you get to meet the former caretaker in Jack's delusions.
Yep.
But just like in the book, in the movie, he's basically something else. And then Jack says, "Oh, you're the old caretaker." He's like, "No, Jack, you've always been the caretaker."
Yeah.
That's in the movie. And I was like, "Oh, that's super cool." But this, like I was saying, the slide of being a bad father to being a fucking murderer is so quick. It's like Tuesday, he's upset. Thursday's murdering everybody. Like 2 days later, I'm like, just need to see your blood. I need to see your insides, see if they're red. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, there's so many elements that someone obviously, like Stanley Kubrick said, "Hey, go read this book and come back to me with all the creepy shit, and we'll work it into our screenplay."
Yeah, and then threw most of it out and was
Yeah.
like, "You know what would sound good? I got this idea. I have this just giant vat of fake blood.
Yeah, just flood a hallway with
Let's
it.
flood a hallway with it."
Yeah.
But Stanley, that's not in the book. No,
That's fine.
No, I already got this. Why do you have this?
Yeah.
Don't ask.
Yeah, so
We're doing this. Yeah.
the movie's still awesome. It's a shame that it's so far off from. I mean, there's no way you can make a movie out of The Shining because there's essentially 3 to 4 parts of this book.
Yeah.
There's the life before they go to the hotel, so it's Jack as a teacher and a drunk, him making bad decisions, him dislocating Danny's shoulder by yanking him away from some stuff, him trying to be a better person, him losing his job because he's a student.
Because he failed
damn
to be
near
a better person.
damn near killed a kid.
Yeah.
Again, not totally his fault, but in a way his fault.
Yeah.
Them going to the hotel. Then you get the whole thing about the whole thing of like the link between Danny having the shine and the cook from the Overlook Hotel having the shine, and the fact that the hotel has some weird fucking shit going on in it, which they do a really good job in the movie of explaining a lot of it. They just don't like.
There's not enough time to
Yeah, not a whole lot of
stuff.
it.
And that's why Jack ends up going
Yeah,
ape shit overnight.
Yeah,
in
because
the
it
movie.
jumps.
Yeah.
Mind you, I definitely would murder people if I was trapped in a hotel in that environment.
Well, especially that hotel.
Fucking Christ.
That's one of those places that's just the set of it is just creepy
Yeah.
to begin with.
The hedge maze was a really big thing, like everyone talks about from the movie. Doesn't exist in the book.
Nope.
There are hedge animals in the book,
Yes.
which are super rad.
And in the book are fucking scary.
Yeah, because they attack people.
Especially
they move on
at
their
the
own.
End?
Yep.
Oh my god.
And that's the thing. So when you meet the Dick Halloran, who is the cook at the Overlook Hotel, he has this moment with Danny where he calls him Doc.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out right then and there that Shelley Duvall's character, Wendy, and Jack Nicholson, Danny's parents, call him Doc as a nickname. And just like out of the book, she says, "How did you know we call him Doc?" He says, "Oh, I must have heard you say it."
Mm-hmm.
But really, you find out that he read it out of Danny's mind. They share this link, blah, blah, blah. In the book, you get to experience more with Dick, Mr. Halloran.
Yeah.
When he goes down to Florida, there's some racial stuff in it because the N-word is used. Because remember, this is in 1977.
You're like, this is 19. Like, it's not that. Oh wait, no.
Nope.
That's
the height
still
of
a
using
pretty
that
bad
word.
time. Yeah.
And so we basically like there's this whole thing about like they have this connection, and the part that has the screeching noise for the shine is when Danny is essentially trying to communicate with Halloran, and he's like screaming his head off, like basically like trying to blow his head up, and you don't get the sense of it from the movie, but in the book, it's like damn near killing Halloran. The further he is away from it, the worse it gets.
Because the kid was so powerful.
Yeah, so like you get a little bit of it, but you don't.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but the fact that you don't get to get any of Halloran's real like backstory in it, which is shitty. You also don't get him getting almost murdered by the fucking animals, the hedge animals. He does get fucking murdered by Jack though in the movie. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because in the book he survives.
Yeah.
Just with a mild case of I got my ass kicked by a bunch of shrubs. I say that, it was fucking terrifying. And Jack's death is in the movie. I remember it was like, not remember. I remember fondly. I like the way it happened. It just seems like weird that he froze overnight, but then it's not. I guess it's not really that way. Like he's just sitting there, but
yeah,
it was a cool visual because he's like stark white snow, just frozen, eyes are open, holding the axe. But it's more. I think the book was way more terrifying.
Oh yeah,
because like he's damn near crippled.
Yeah.
By getting hit that fucking weird mallet thing, which is kind of like croquet but has a different name. It's an American version, whatever. I can't remember what it's called. But also having the knife shoved in his back. Because in this, there's a scene where he hacks through the door of the bathroom. It's the most famous scene from this movie. And it's, here's Johnny.
Which isn't in the book.
It's not in the book, yep.
Yeah.
It was made up on set. And it's super awesome.
Yeah.
Because Jack Nicholson just fucking chews up every scene he's in.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of them because he has this weird, like, sort of monologue moment in it. He's talking about how, like, it's your fault, blah, blah, blah. But the only thing that happens to him there is his hand gets cut because Wendy, Shelley Duvall, slices at him when he's trying to reach in and unlock the bathroom door.
Yeah. And
then, like, for some reason, he gets the feeling he needs to run. So it was really weird. I don't know. It was strange the way they did it, but it's still an awesomely horrifying movie.
Yeah.
Because the shit happens in it. But it's one of those situations where I kind of get why people hate it as much as they do after reading the book.
Because they wanted the book on
Yeah, because they wanted
screen.
the book. And I'm kind of glad I saw this movie before and then read the book.
Because you might have been one of them.
I might have been more of like they fucked this book up.
Yeah.
But really, it made it his own. And if I never read the book,
you would have.
I would have been like, this is still one of the greatest horror movies ever. And I think it is. I think it's very unsettling.
Yeah.
It's fucked up. But the thing is, you see all these things in the movie that don't really get explained.
Mm-hmm.
But if you read the book, you understand them.
Yeah.
Because there's these little capsules of like, they mention something later on, it pays off in the movie, but there's a whole bit that's drawn out. The fact that like the hotel talks to Jack,
yeah,
but in the movie it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's just he just is
slowly going insane.
And the part where the old caretaker tells him he needs to take care of his family is in the movie. It just doesn't have the same weight of it because he doesn't get all the visions of him murdering his family and him trying to repress it.
Yeah.
That you do in the book, and then eventually he just accepts it like, yes, I'm going to murder him. You want me to murder him. I want to live here forever.
Yeah.
Because there's a moment in the movie, he has that moment with Danny where he's on the bed with him, and he's like, Danny, you like it here? He's like, yeah. He's like, I love it. But do you? He's like, well, I guess. And you can see he's so, like, Jack is so involved, and he's like, he loves this fucking hotel, even though it's making him miserable because he can't write.
Mm-hmm.
It's distracting him but you don't have all the distractions he does in the book.
No,
he doesn't. You never see him taking care of anything. The boiler, which is the ultimate thing about the ticking time bomb this hotel is, doesn't really get any light on it in the movie. Like at one point you see when Danny goes room 237 in the movie, and the lady in the bathtub strangles him. Mm-hmm. She somehow, from the basement, hears Danny and runs up 3 flights of stairs, through the lobby, up 3 flights of stairs, but then you realize it's not him yelling. It's Jack having a fit in his sleep. It was really bizarre.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird that the jumps they made of it, but still, it's a fantastic movie. I'm really glad I rewatched it. But I mean, now I want to watch the TV movie to see
Where it compares,
Yeah,
it's
'cause, like,
closer to
the whole
book.
thing. The Stephen King was so upset the way this turned out that he personally financed a TV movie version of it.
And didn't he direct it, I want to say?
No,
Was
I
that
don't
one of the
think
ones that he directed?
so. I can tell you right now. Stephen King. Let's see. Movies. God damn, his fucking Wikipedia is way too long.
Yeah, I know, because it's all
Shouldn't have
his
done that.
bibliography and his
Yeah.
filmography.
Filmography. Fiction. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to have to use IMDb. But I just remember, like, he was so upset that he personally financed the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you got to have some hate involved in it, you know what I mean? Like,
And I can understand that at that time, I don't know very many movies that are books that were turned into movies at that point. It was, or at least that fast,
yeah.
Vast of a turnaround. If it's going to be a bestseller, why are you changing so much of it as the author? So I can see where the hatred of his would come. And how much you'd want to have that rectified, because not everybody's going to read the book. And when you read the book, or when you watch this movie and then you go and read the book and you're wondering why the book is so different from the movie, well, it's the other way around. The movie was so different from the book and didn't hit the same strides at certain points as the book did. Because, like you said, it's a much slower burn because it's about Jack slowly going insane due to this hotel slowly trying to turn him evil.
Because you find out that Danny is so powerful that Hotel's afraid of him.
Yes.
So he wants Jack to kill him. So they manipulate Jack into becoming this fucking monster. So you get the best thing about the movie or the book is you get to see that fall, that degradation of him slowly going, but also seeing him try to fight against it, and then just not doing a very good job.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see why you have no list of director on this thing.
Because no one directed it.
No.
Dun dun dun.
They did it all themselves.
It's just a bunch of actors that showed up and just started doing.
Mike Garris
Oh, okay.
did it. It was a 3-part miniseries that apparently you can watch in an hour and 37 minutes. 3-part. It was really 30 minutes each.
3-part miniseries.
So really, did they air 3 episodes that were 30 minutes each? That can't be right.
That would have to be right.
I have to have read that wrong. Nope, hour and a half. It's an hour and a half.
So 3 half-hour shows.
Yep.
That's not a miniseries, at least by
Why
today's standards.
Yeah, like it's so weird to me. I just would think that it would be like where it was like 2 hour-and-a-half long movies.
Yeah, or if it was going to be longer, it'd be like Rose Red, where it was like 4 or 5
Yeah, it's super weird.
hour-long stuff. Or not, that wasn't Rose Red. I meant something hospital. Why can't I remember the name of that?
Bum, 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 bum. Shining miniseries. Let's see if we get some details on this. 3 episodes. Oh, see, now that's better. That makes more sense. I remember it being longer than an hour and a half. It is 273 minutes.
Okay, that makes more sense.
There we go. I was like,
Yeah.
there was no way they did 3 30-minute parts for this fucking movie.
No.
That's just play the movie.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that makes more sense. IMDb, you're fucking retarded.
It is IMDb.
Hour and a half. If they're all an hour and a half each, how many minutes is that? 60, 120. That's 180 though. It's 180 minutes. There's 273 minutes. That's weird to me. I'm trying to see if there's a listing of how long they were. It doesn't matter. That's up next for me. I want to watch that one as well. So it'll be one of the ones I watched that's not part of the. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. Every episode that we do this month is gonna have one of these where we pick a movie to watch. We don't tell anybody else in it, and then we watch it and then talk about it on the show. This month.
So hopefully Mike will be here
Hopefully, Mike will be
next
here
week,
Yes.
and he could go over the movie that he was supposed to watch for this one.
Yep.
We both know what it is,
Yes.
and I don't think we're going to say it.
No.
No. It's a good movie, too. We could actually review it right now.
We could remove it right now.
But
we won't.
We won't.
I can't find on here what it says episode wise. It just says 3 episodes. I'm probably says in here. I haven't really been bruising over it, but I was hoping it would say like runtime for each episode. But
well, if it was
273 minutes,
270 minutes would have been just under 5 hours. So
it's pretty long.
Yeah.
So an hour and a half each.
So about an hour and a half each. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense though. Three movies.
Yeah,
because it's 3-part television miniseries. So I don't know. I just remember I don't remember the miniseries as well as I do the movie.
I don't think I've seen the miniseries.
But I know it's been quite a long time since I watched that as well. But I know it has the dude from Wings in it.
Yeah, that was the weird thing about a lot of his movies and made for TV movies that they always had that actor that you were like, I know that guy.
Yep.
I know that guy. I don't remember what his name is. Like, what was the name of that? There's one that I really like. It's something Castle Rock or something like that. That has a dude in it, and I'm like, I know that guy. I know that guy. Which I think was Wings as well. I want to say it's the same actor.
Steven Weber is the guy I was talking about, but he's a reason I know him as well because I used to watch Wings, but also he played Sean's uncle in Psych. So there you go.
So there we go. We've now 6 degrees this to Psych again.
Yep. There you go. That's how I do things. I relate things to Psych.
Yep.
Yeah. So boom. So yeah, that's it. I believe, unless Joe has anything else he wants to bring up.
No, that's it.
So next week, again, we will do mystery horror reviews or talkabouts, whatever you want to call this thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Mike this next week. So it'll be 3 of them. We can maybe cut them a little bit shorter. We have a bit of time to fill, so we both obviously talk
I
more.
won't ramble as much. Yeah.
Maybe he'll remember stuff too. We'll find out. It's like a gambit, or not. So yeah, boom. That's it for this week. Comes naturally. We are
Joe,
and I am Cody. Again, thank you very much. And like normal, you fuckers just came naturally.
good night.